Well, after 5 years at the top, Japan has been unseated as having the most powerful passport in the world. Singapore has stepped up to take the top spot, followed by a three-way tie of Italy, Spain, and Germany in second place. It's ranked based on how many countries that passport holder can visit without needing a visa. Singapore citizens have access to 192. So for more on this, I want to bring in Philippe Amarante. He is the managing partner for Henley Partners, which is a global migration consultant group that creates the index ranking for passport power. So thanks a lot for joining me. Now you got me thinking about all the nature of travel and visas. So this being on the index and your ranking is based on how freely you can travel to other countries without needing a visa. All you need is that passport. What does passport power, though, really look like? Why is it valuable?
That's a great question, and good morning, first of all. I mean, look, if you consider this index being now somewhat an institution over the past 18 years, we see strong correlation in between basically what you mentioned as passport power to even economic health of a nation. Consider the fact that Singaporeans have access to not only travel or leisure opportunities, but also for business opportunities around the world. And that is the interesting part here, where countries get a little bit excited about either they go up on the ranking or they actually decline on the ranking.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So last year's top 3 most powerful passports, they've all actually fallen down the list. What happened?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, we are publishing this index on a quarterly basis. And look, visa regimes, visa-free access is a very dynamic space, and sometimes even being affected by, let's say, events such as the pandemic, where, for instance, even US citizens were not allowed to enter Europe. There's a great example of Australia during the pandemic, where it was even illegal for Australians to return to their home country. So the passport ranking has to be interpreted in a bit of a dynamic, I think, fashion. But there are 2 underlying effects. What drives the ranking, and that is then relevant to the sovereign or the state in question. And then even more importantly, or equally important, what does it mean to the passport holder, him or herself?
Yeah, I wondered if the pandemic might have played a role, because so much changed because of the pandemic. And yeah, a lot of us couldn't go to other places. And I also wondered if at times with countries there's a little bit of a tit for tat. Like if I need a visa to come to your country, well, guess what? Our people, you're going to need a visa to come to mine. The U.S., speaking of that, was at number 8 on the list. Nearly a decade ago, around 2014, it was number 1. Why has the U.S. fallen so much?
The reason is because of stagnation, I would say. And then also you have to look into those thriving markets or countries such as Singapore and many others who are just basically catching up. Standstill means basically falling behind. And I think that's what happened. 10 years ago, the US had access to 174 countries, and they made them, one of our, number 1 ranking countries. But in the meantime, over the past years, other countries were able to add more countries to the visa-free access protocol, and the US has done less so. And one of the reasons probably goes down because of reciprocity. One country would expect that, hey, hold on a second, if I give you a visa-free waiver, you should do the same to me.
Right.
But that doesn't go very well at the moment with the policy temperature that we have in the US, where it's a bit more a closed versus an open conversation.
It's really interesting. I never really sort of considered the factors that go into the index and the impact it could have. Philippe, thank you very much.
You're welcome.